Hey guys, we're back. I hope everyone had a good holidays. It was a busy holiday season for the both of us, so we're gonna start it off with I don't think it's too serious. Just the friendships, I guess. Because I was talking to the father of my children about the difference between like men or like male friendships and female friendships, and we were discussing how like typically guys like aren't a huge fan of when girls have a lot of guy friends, and like I understand it. I do. Like I know that men think with two different heads, and whether you're honest with them about friend zoning or not, sometimes they're still trying to, you know, it goes there. And I get it. I really get it. I get it. But I can't stand women. Like I have maybe two or three like that I would legit call like my girlfriends. Um, if I'm talking like someone that I can actually just call if shit hits the fan, I got pretty much Karen. And that's no one else answers the phone. I'll get like a call 2 days later from everyone else. So I think the only person I could call in crisis is probably Karen.
Nice. That's good to know.
But it's like I just feel like with girls it's a lot harder because I had a situation recently with a girl where we legit planned a trip. My birthday's coming up, my dirty 30.
Yes.
And we planned this entire trip for like months. I'm talking 3 or 4 months. And I don't know what she's going through personally or whatever. She decided she didn't like being my friend anymore. I don't know what the hell happened. She got really offended at some stupid joke I made on Facebook and took that shit way up the ass and stopped talking to me after that and completely backed out of the trip when she lives like a 40-minute drive from where we're going to be. And I get it, like, okay, maybe you had to work or something. Then you could just be like, hey, I'm only going to be able to stay for the weekend and then I got to go back home because I couldn't get out of work. Which,
Mhm.
by the way, she works from home, so she could have just brought her laptop to the hotel. But it's all right. It's all right. Like, even if that was the case, like, I would understand. Shit happens. You got bills to pay. Like, I might have been annoyed because we've been planning the trip for months and you had that amount of time to request that week off. But if circumstances happen and you couldn't get it off or whatever the case may be, like, I can be understanding of that. But to just like hop in the group chat and be like, "Oh, sorry, can't make it," and then like delete yourself from the chat. I was like, no message to me, not like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I know we've been planning this, but I can't do it." Like I just got
Yeah.
deuces,
Right.
like
Right.
nothing in the group chat, not even to me.
Yeah. And like being your friend for however long you guys have been friends, it would just be more like make sense to message you personally and tell you, hey, like, actually, this is what's going on, not a public appearance. When you were talking about the guys, like I know I've heard guys say this before too, like for guys, they might be mad for like a little bit or whatever, and then like they'll just like be talking the next day, like what up, blah 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 blah. Like I think women hold it longer. They hold on to crap longer. Like for a lot of guys, from my experience, that they've said when they're mad at their dudes or their homeboys, it's like, yeah, all right, that was messed up, bro, but like we good. Like what I'm saying?
I've
It's so much
seen
more
dudes,
emotional.
I've seen dudes legit like pound it, like get in a fist fight, and like the next day they're homies, and I'm like,
Right. Yeah.
weren't
It's
you
so
two
much more
beating the shit out of
emotional
each
for
other
females.
yesterday? Like,
Right. Literally. Literally. But it's so emotional for women. And I get that. I do get that. And there's so much controversy. There's this guy on TikTok that I watch. Like, there's so much controversy between, or, and like you were talking about women be having male friends, or like even males having female friends. A lot of times though, I did hear I think it was Ace Metaphor. He said something about men aren't trying to be like women, they can't just be friends with women. There's usually like some kind of ulterior motive. I kind of agree with that, but I do know, I mean,
I think there might
yeah,
be, that's why I
I
said,
agree.
like with men, it's like, I can see where sometimes, even if they're not trying to think with that other head, it's still there and they're hanging out with you because they think you're attractive in some way, probably, or
Yeah.
it's like, I get it. But when I try to explain to people, sometimes I'm like, but you don't understand. Having a friendship with a guy is just so much simpler. Like, I can keep pushing you, like, if
And the
you,
friend zone. Yeah.
yeah, like if you decide, most guys will be respectful though, like, or at least in my experience with the ones that I let into my friendships, they'll be respectful enough to, like, if I'm seeing somebody, they won't try anything or overstep any boundaries. Or if I had a friend one day that was drunk and he sent me a picture and it was innocently, it was a picture of him in his like Christmas outfit, like they were doing a Christmas thing at work, but it was like a Christmas like jacket, but then like Christmas boxers. And Marcus had gotten really upset over that picture and he vehemently apologized. He was like, I didn't mean it in that way. That was just like my Christmas outfit and I was showing it to my friend, but I didn't think like I'd had a couple drinks and I didn't think about how that might come off. Like, but it
Or
wasn't
be
in,
inappropriate. He was probably just like, hey, look at my Christmas outfit. Isn't that funny?
yeah. And he apologized for it. He was like, I didn't mean any disrespect. Like that was my bad. That was just I didn't think that through.
Yeah.
But I was like, men are just simpler. Like, there's no bullshit. I'm gonna be real. There's no bullshit with it. Like, there's men are A plus B equals C, and women are some damn trigonometry problem that I still haven't figured out. And they can take something that wasn't even about them and make it about them, and then you end up having this on again, off again friendship all the time because they get pissed off about something. And I just don't got that kind of time. Like, I just
Well, and because I read the post, I was so confused of why this individual was upset. Because to me, you didn't say anything out of line, attacking anybody. It was just a bold, just a simple statement about the holiday and cleanup, period. Um, Somebody told me recently, most of the time people get upset about posts and stuff like that is because their own whatever. Like, it's not even anything that you did. That was not even your fault. Now, is it that what triggered that? I'm not coming to your dirty 30 and I'm not coming to your birthday party. I don't know if it was. Did she say it was? Like, was it because of that?
oh, she never messaged me at all. Like, I haven't heard from her since that day in the group chat
uh,
where she said she didn't come. And here's my thing is, like, I felt like she wanted me to reach out to her and be like, why aren't you coming? And like, so that she could throw her fit or whatever it was she wanted to do. But I wasn't down to do that. I was like, if you're going to sit there and back out of the party that we've been planning for months and you know how important this is to me, and now on top of backing out, you're adding extra costs for me now because you're supposed to be the one driving us around. And so now I got to add a rental car. Now that's one less person to help me with the $1,800 fucking hotel charge. Like, I got to come up with the whole charge myself on my birthday. So I got to pay for everything too. Like, I might as well go alone. Like, you know,
at that point, absolutely.
but I don't
I'm
want to
not sure
spend
why
my
that
birthday by
busted.
myself. I had to spend my 21st birthday by myself because the friend I went to visit, her uncle died right after I got there. So I spent the entire birthday trip alone.
Oh my lord. Um, but yeah, I do feel like that, and I feel like it's more difficult for women to have. I see these like women in the movies, and I actually only know a few in real life, but like you'll see where all these times where it's like we've been friends for like 30 years, or like they have these lifelong friendships, and I'm like, how in the world? Like, how does that even happen? Because I do actually have a friend, like I can call her. I can't remember how old we were when we became friends. And the crazy part was we actually got into a fight on my front yard. We had to have been in elementary school. It was when I lived in New York. And Yeah, we did. We got into a fight on my front yard. And we are still friends. Like she actually lived with us for a while. And I didn't know a lot of the reason why she always stayed at my house until a couple weeks ago. We had this like huge long 3 hour conversation. And she shared some things and I was like, wow, I never even knew that. How did I never know that? And like she lived with us. Like my mom, we went to a private school in New York, and my mom actually was like paying her tuition so she could go there and all these things. And I just never had no idea. Like I was just like, wow, really? I just thought you liked being with me. Like I just thought it was because we were friends. Um, and I'm sure maybe that had a little bit to do with it, but literally she lived with me and like she is somebody who I could be like, and I did call her in crisis. Um, and that I can do that, but still, I mean, like you see these things where people have been friends with people for a while growing up, and now like I don't think we're at the same place, but we know that we can call each other, you
Yeah.
know. If we were closer, would we, I don't know, would we be as close? I don't know, but
I think
she's
that's another hard part for women too, is like when we become the matriarchs of our family and we have kids
yeah,
and stuff, like the
yeah,
the dynamic of our life has to change. And
hmm,
there's people who can handle that dynamic and people who can't, because part of that
absolutely,
dynamic is knowing that you might go a few days without talking or a few weeks without
absolutely,
talking, or it might take them 6 hours to reply to your text because they've got kids to
absolutely,
put down. I can't tell
yeah,
you how many times Karen and I have tried to record or do lives or do something, and one of our kids gets sick,
oh,
or
oh, there you
or
go,
or they won't go down for their nap, or they don't want to go
yeah,
to bed, or like, or something happens, we get called into work, or like something happens, and you just have to be like, all right, well, we'll try again tomorrow. Like,
absolutely. But I
it's
think
just
it's
what it
that
is.
understanding. Yeah, it's that understanding that you know what, life happens, and like regardless, we're still gonna be there for each other. And like, hey, yo, I understand. Let's just pick back up or whatever. Like I think that's the big piece of it. That's is that understanding, and like let's meet each other where we're at, but still know that we got each other's back. You know what I'm saying? There's
Yeah,
something I was gonna say, and now I cannot remember.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not you. I messed with my phone, I think, and it messed up my brain. Something that you made a good point about, like how many times, we have tried to do that. And then
Yeah, and
I can't remember. It was a good point.
it's just being understanding of the situation and having open. I think the problem with women, if I'm really getting down to the nitty gritty here, is that we have a problem communicating with each other. Like we are so afraid to
Mm-hmm.
hurt each other's feelings or come off a
Mm-hmm.
certain way, or we know that one of our friends is kind of more sensitive than the other, so we just kind of avoid the topics. But then what happens is this clusterfuck of confusion happens where we don't talk about the things and get the things out that need to be talked about,
Yeah.
or we don't express the fact that our life is actually really busy and so we're not going to be able to go on the trip or whatever it may be, and so we don't communicate this to each other, and then so it just makes you look like an asshole when you just kind of back out, or when you blow up on them, or when you get really
Yeah.
upset over something small, when there's that really famous meme where it's the like the tip of the iceberg, but then it shows all this stuff underneath the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
There's a huge amount, and women have a really bad habit of doing that, where we only show you the tip of the iceberg. We don't show you everything else that's underneath that's been piling up that we don't talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe her just like telling you, like this is what's really bothering me. And I think too, like it's a communication issue altogether. But it's like if we're friends, I feel like we should be able to do that. Like, and there should be no judgment. It should be like, okay, and I think I would have more respect for you if you came to me and said, like, this is what really is bothering me. This is what's really going on. And that's a true friendship. A true friendship is being able to, no matter the distance, no matter the time, A, pick back up where y'all left off, and B, being open and honest with each other and loyal. People think loyalty mostly with like relationships. This still is a relationship. Your
Yeah,
friendship is a relationship, and being able to be honest with each other regardless. Because it's like, then why are y'all friends? You know what I mean? Like, obviously we're friends for a reason, right? Like we have this connection. we've built some trust apparently. So it's like I don't understand. I don't know. I don't. Oh, that's what I was going to say, because when you were talking about understanding with the family and understanding, like a lot of us, like we're the matriarchs of our family, right? We're busy,
Hmm.
things happen. I feel like too, for me, I've had really close friendships with females in it, and I don't usually do that. But when I did, it would be like, you know what? That meant a lot. Like if I'm your friend and you're a female, because I'd rather have no friends than fake friends, period. So I
Thank
would
you.
rather be by myself than have a fake friend. Don't be fake with me. Don't talk about me behind my back. Don't judge me. Don't put my business out in the street. And I had a friend, I had two really close friends of mine, and we went and we did everything together. And but I also found out that we were basically only friends when I was out in the streets or when I was drinking or when I was going to the bars. And as soon as I stopped doing that, because I had a kid, I had two kids, and it was cool when I was out in the bars, and judge me if you want to. And I was with my, I had these kids, but they were safe. It's not like I left them at home. They were with family, whatever. But then like 10 years later, I got pregnant, and I wasn't that person who was going out to the club and wasn't out in the streets anymore. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, those friendships kind of faded. And I'm like, but we were friends, right? So now all of a sudden I'm not doing what you're doing, and I'm not doing what you like to do, and you don't have any kids, or you do still have kids and you're still out here, but I don't want to be no more. It was like those friendships faded. It's like, do you only have that friendship based on like their needs? Or is it when you have needs too? Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
Because life changes, life happens. Like, we not friends no more. Like, what happened?
it's being able to go through the seasons with each other. The good
Absolutely.
I saw this really good quote that I posted that it was being a true friend isn't just being there when it's convenient, it's being there when it's not.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
you know, and it's not always being there when you agree with all their decisions either. Like
Hmm.
I had a friend who had a, I guess you want to call it like a side piece while they were married, but their marriage was really abusive and they were in the process of leaving the relationship. But anybody with kids or tied finances can tell you that that shit's a step by step process. Okay. It's not like when it's
Hmm.
just you and him and you can just deuces and leave.
Right.
You got to take steps. You got to figure out who's going to watch the kids. You got to make sure you have a job that can afford the rent. You got to find your own. If you got to share a car, you got to get your own car, whatever the case may be.
Right.
And I could have sat there and been like, well, I'm not really into extramarital affairs, so I don't want to hang out with you anymore. I cannot agree with what you're doing, but also understand the circumstances behind it and know that this isn't something you would probably do just because, like, if you were really happy and you still want a side piece. This is because you got stuff going on. Like, it's just because I wouldn't make the same decisions as you doesn't mean that I have to judge you. Now, I'm not saying if your friend is going out and doing really terrible stuff, you got to bury the body with them, but it does
That's a true friend.
it also means that like you don't necessarily have to completely agree with all their decisions to still be their friend.
Like Good Girls. You watch that show on Netflix?
No, I'm so bad
Oh
with
my
watching shows, man. I
gosh.
never have any damn time anymore.
Oh my gosh, you got to watch that show. When you talk about burying the bodies, like that would be like, it's a sister, a best friend that they've been friends for years, and then the sister of one of the girls, and they literally like do some crazy stuff. Like, it starts out with like robbing, you know, and then it gets to money laundering, and like
We're
it's
not
it's crazy.
condoning anyone doing this stuff, okay?
Yeah,
This is a
no, we're not.
show.
But we're talking about friendships here. But yeah, no, definitely not condoning, but that's a good show. It's funny. It's a good show. And that guy, oh Lord have mercy. Anyway, um, but yeah, like I have a friend right now who like I don't agree with what she's doing. And it's not because it's something that I wouldn't do. It's not because of that. It's because she's hurting herself.
Yeah.
And because I'm no longer in a toxic relationship and I see her in the toxic relationship, and I'm literally watching and I'm like, it's like, you know what? Like, I support you. I love you. I'm here for you. You want to talk, I'll talk. And like you said, we don't have to agree with like what your friend is doing. You don't have to agree with it, but I think it's important to like be there. So that way they know, like, you know what? I don't know. So they're not alone. I don't agree with it. I'll definitely listen. I definitely will listen. Um, but it hurts me because I don't think she realizes the amount of harm that it's doing. Well, she does. She actually does. She actually tells me that she does. Like, I know I'm stupid. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Like, that's not, don't say that. Like, I mean, it's tough. It really is. But I'm going to be there for her when she's up or when she's down because that's what friends do.
Well, that's another thing is like you said, being there when they're hurting themselves. I had a friend who we're still friends, but we're not close like we used to be. That was the kind of friendship like we went everywhere together. Like if one of us was having a mental health day or whatever, I straight called off of work a couple times for her just to go drive around with her and be there for her.
Oh,
But
wow.
um
It just reminded me of a
she
situation.
she had issues with substances for a little while and mental health and was in and out of treatments a couple times and that kind of stuff. And there was a time where I kind of backed away from the friendship for a little bit, but it was only when her substances got really, really bad. And that was only because I come from a family of substances. And I was just like,
Yeah.
look, like, I love you. And when you finally reach that bottom and you're ready to be picked up, I'll be right here. But I can't sit here and hang around with you while you're doing it because that's just, I can't.
Yeah, because it was a trigger for you, right?
And it's like, but I know that from my family and my past, I know that especially when it comes to substances, they're not going to get help until they want help. So
Yeah,
you kind of just have
absolutely.
to let them go and hit. I know it sounds harsh, but you kind of have to sometimes let them go hit rock bottom. And when they're
Mhm.
ready to be picked up, then they'll reach out for help, and that's when you can help them. But you can't force them into help. And we've talked about that on our mental health episodes and stuff. But
Yeah.
it was one of those situations where I was like, I love you, and I am here whenever you need to talk or whenever you're feeling really, really down and you're feeling like it's just not worth it anymore. You're feeling like that. Call me. I'll be here. But I can't hang around with you while you're doing the something something because I'm going to law school and I'm doing all this stuff. I can't have anything on my plate.
Well,
um,
that too. And I feel like, some friendships are just for a season and that's okay. Like, it's just for during that time. And we're not going to take everybody with us. Like, my friends were my friends during that time of my life. And sometimes, like, we go different ways, we go different directions.
you grow
I
apart.
think there's only so often, like, I just kept being friends with this person who just like was just telling all my business and talking about me behind my back. And like, if you don't have my back when I'm not there, then I don't want your friendship. I just don't. That's just not for me. We can be friends for 20, 30 years, but that loyalty is something for me. and
Yeah.
and so yeah, like not everybody can go with you, not everybody's for you. Some people you think have your back and it'd be those be the ones that hurt you the most.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I felt in the situation we were talking about earlier was I felt like her and I had been through a lot and had a lot of ups and downs and
Mm-hmm.
we were that kind of like yin and yang where we think and lived our lives in completely opposite ways, but there was something about our personalities that also clicked. And so we were able to be giddy and stupid with each other and it was just fun. But I just felt like our after all the things we've been through that the friendship was at a point where she could have talked to me or a conversation. I maybe it's just me being petty or me being stubborn, but I was not going to be the one to reach out. Like when you put it in the group chat, you obviously wanted me to reach out to you, and I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to coddle you. I'm not going to. I draw a line at a certain point, and I think that's why I have trouble keeping like female friendships. Is like I have a very small bullshit line, and like once you cross that line, I'm like, cool, bye. You want to see your way out? There's the door. That's like I don't have very many female friends. I don't have very many friends in general. Like I keep my circle very small, but I would like to have more friends. I'm a very, anyone that knows me knows I'm a very peppy, happy go lucky person, and I get along with pretty much anyone. I know what to say and what not to say, and but
Yeah.
it's, and I can be a very uplifting person to be around, so I'm told, but I have a very, I guess, short leash when it comes to the bullshit, and I'm just not gonna,
A low tolerance for BS regardless.
yeah.
And I think for you, there's a way that like it could have been handled to where you would be more maybe understanding with the situation because it's not like you're like cold hearted, and also too, I feel like you were just so disappointed with this situation, and that didn't help at all because you are so excited, and y'all been planning it for months. I mean, way before I knew about it. So it was like, okay, and then that happened, and it was like, wow, what, like what just happened? And I'm so excited, and all these things. So I think that was just all of the factors at once.
Yeah. And like I said, I would have been understanding. Like, now I might have been, I will say about myself is I can get a little moody and peeved sometimes, especially in the situation where we were planning this for months. So you had ample time to request it off of work or figure it out or manage it so that you could work from home those days and fucking be on your laptop at the hotel. They got Wi-Fi. Okay. Like,
Right.
we could have figured it out. Um, and you didn't do that. You just backed out and gave me no like, had you come to me and been like, oh, like I can't get out of work, so I can only come for the weekend. Like I said, like I might have been a little peeved. Like, why the fuck did you plan this better? You've had months. We were talking about this last summer. Like, but I would have gotten over it after a day or two. I've been like, all right, it's fine. Like, I understand shit happens, work. I'm
Yeah.
not going to tell you you can't pay your bills. Like, I'm not an asshole. I can be sometimes, but like, I'm not, I'm, I'm an asshole within reason. Like,
Yeah.
so it's just, I just felt like it could have been handled so much better. And I'm not going to sit there and reach out to you because it truly hurt my feelings that you kind of just backed out of something that had been planned for forever that was really important to me. Um, I haven't gotten to celebrate my last few birthdays because of I was pregnant with the twins and then there was COVID and it was just like I haven't been able to do anything for years really when it comes to like
Right.
going out with the girls. So it's like I've been work, school, kids, home, like that has been my life for the last few years and that's fine and I'm comfortable with my life, but this was like, oh, okay, I finally get to go out and like have some fun.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I think for a lot of people, that's the situation. Like, okay, I can finally now leave my house. And it's a big milestone. It's your dirty 30. So it's like, okay, not only can I finally leave my house, I'm finally able to do this. I am excited about it. And now what's going on? Like,
And
what is
there's other
happening?
players to this party too. Like my mom's flying out so that
Oh, it
someone will
takes a
watch my
lot.
kids for the week. Like all of that is already booked and paid for. The flights booked, everything's paid for other than the hotel. Because I was hoping
Yeah.
that, and I'm still hoping that the other people involved in the hotel will contribute a little.
Well,
But
yeah, it's
you
like
know,
you're a mother and you took a lot of planning and you had, work and you're in school and like this took a lot. It's probably about to get loud, girl. It took a lot. And so yeah, of course it's gonna be like, what like what? Pulled the rug right out from underneath me. And you're my friend. That's not who I expected to do that.
I'm telling you.
The
Well,
disappointment.
guys, let us know in the comments if what kind of scenarios you've had with friendships, especially female to female friendships. And as always, thank you guys for like, sharing, subscribing, all that jazz. And we will see
Yeah.
you next week. Thank you so much. We love you guys. Tell us your stories.
Bye.
Bye.